Hi, I'm Sandra, and during the second phase, we are going to look at a sample set of data collected from DRA tests completed at a school. While we look at the data, we are going to think about how we can use the information, how we can group students based on the information, and what we would teach to the students in these groups based on the data gathered from the DRAs. So I'm going to switch to a data screen for you. So this is some sample data. Here we have our data, and looking at it, you can see that the teacher or teachers have recorded the previous result and the current independent and instructional levels. Based on this, what could we do? You may be thinking we could group according to similar levels. Maybe we could use a guiding reading kit the school has on hand and pick books at the levels of these students. I would agree that based on this data, that would be the logical conclusion, but I'm going to ask you this question. What happens when we have a student, or more than one, who isn't making progress, like you can see with some students on this chart? By following a guided reading lesson, how do we know for sure that the lesson with the guided reading book is supporting the students in learning the parts that are hard for them and progressing them in their journey to becoming fluent readers? Unfortunately, we don't have a way of knowing this for sure. We are unable to discover at this level what part is or isn't working for a student, or it's hard to discover and often involves guessing on our part. Overall, it is difficult to use DRA data to inform our instruction if we only stick to this surface level of interpreting and using the data. Now that we know that looking at only the levels achieved from the DRA results is not sufficient in providing us with enough information to inform our instruction, we're going to dive a little deeper into the data from that same sample set. We will ask ourselves the same questions as we look at the data. How can we use the information? How would we group students? And what would we teach our students based on the data? I'm going to pull it up for you, and I have zoomed in slightly so you can see it a little more clearly. You will also notice that there are a couple of new things in this data set. So first, you'll see some grade levels, and second, you'll see some color coding. And the green means that they are above where they need to be. The clear white means that they are at grade level currently, and the red means they are behind where they need to be. So with this additional information, how could we group students? You might suggest that we could possibly group by grade, considering many of the grade groupings are quite small and the students are likely in split or multi-grade classrooms. We could also group according to the colors, those who are ahead, on grade level, or behind. These methods are often used in classrooms, so I would agree that with this data set, those are the best options for groupings. But how do we decide what to teach? Do we know why the students achieved the levels they did? Will students make significant and steady progress for those that are behind based on grouping in this way? And our last pondering, what would we teach to the students in these groups? If we use the guided reading sets, we will likely find ourselves in the same boat that we were in with the last set of data, unsure of what is causing growth for a student or what is stagnating growth. We are often left guessing and possibly assuming that a child might just not be able to learn. As before, it's still very difficult to use this data to effectively inform instruction because we still don't know why specific results were achieved. We need to dig down farther because it isn't productive or effective to group students until we know why the students achieved the result they did. If within a group one student struggles with short vowel sounds, but another struggles with language comprehension, the group won't be effective for one or both of them, depending on what is taught during the lesson. So we need to dig a little deeper. This leads us to our next set of data, digging a bit deeper yet again. Again, I'd like us to consider how we can use the information in this set of data, how we would group students, and what we would teach those students. So I'm going to show you the third set of data. And I'm only showing you a small portion of the data set, but you can already see that there's much more information to go off of. The teacher has noted the strengths and struggles of the students during the DRA testing and added some additional notes based on observations or information that may be helpful in informing instruction. This dataset provides us with a lot more information to use in guiding our decisions. It gives us more clues as to what is causing the reading level to be where it is. If we were to use this information for groupings, we could create groups with similar struggles or similar strengths, depending on the purpose of the groups. We could then choose to teach to those specific struggles and strengths. But what happens if we don't see growth in a student after teaching using this data to inform us? The key is this: while the teacher identified strengths and struggles, there is no information yet as to what the cause of these struggles is. These reading behaviors, the strengths and struggles, are the result, not the cause. The cause, especially in struggling readers, is a missing or lagging skill, and that is not identified in this data set, so we need to dig a little deeper yet. We are going to look at one last set of data from our sample collection. When we look at this set, you will notice one additional column called Next Steps. So I'm going to switch to that data set now. And I will zoom in slightly so you can see it a little more clearly. So you can see that the Next Steps column has taken the struggles noticed as well as other possible information gained during observations of the student's reading and listed some possible next steps. These next steps come from the Focus for Instruction page that is a part of most DRA recording packages. These next steps could help us narrow down how to group students who may have similar struggles and need similar next steps. It allows for flexible groupings as well, as you could start students with a similar next step in one group, and once this is accomplished, students could be regrouped according to another struggle. The Focus for Instruction provides common language, allowing us to see patterns between our readers. However, this new set of data is actually most helpful if we can leverage it to help us decide where lagging skills may be and where further investigation is warranted. If we are to stop at this point and use this level of data to inform our instruction, we will likely find the same results as we did with the previous data set. We won't always know why a student does or doesn't improve, and we may not be providing the exact instruction a student needs, as we have not yet identified what is causing the specific struggle or strength. The skills and the Focus for Instruction are not the skill we need to teach yet. We need to use the information gained from the DRA as a way to help us find what is missing, then continue to dig down to the root cause. We can't teach a skill that is missing a foundation. So overall, the DRA is providing us clues as to what is causing a reader to succeed or struggle when reading. We now need to take these clues and do some investigative work.